This is the type of Smite that excites me. When you see a clear-cut decision making in the draft phase, and then it's executed on the battlefield. What else do you want? Game number 2. We'll see if the same thing happens, or if the opposition can bring us to a third game. Sanguine will have the first pick.
They're not out of this just yet, though, because based off how game 1 went, I think that CryptiK are definitely gearing up for a comeback here, because that game 1, I mean, for the first 25 minutes, these two teams were just so neck and neck between each other and not really willing to budge an inch on either side. It wasn't until Sheento and Sanguine really forced open that ending victory push that really made that game 1 possibility. Victory happened, but I think that CryptiK are still a team, and if anything, I would expect to see CryptiK look to be super aggressive with their composition this time around.
I would agree. CryptiK absolutely have the talent level. It was just they got out-X'd and O'd, if you will, there on the battlefield. Sanguine looking to make their first pick. It will be the Xbalanque. A couple of tanky characters banned out, plus the Freya and the King Arthur. So Xbal, number 1, and first and foremost, and that leaves the option over to CryptiK. Bacchus will lead the way.
Kind of surprising as well to see that they would let the Bacchus slip through here. That's an easy snag up or quick pick lock in for Mineral, I think. And not even necessarily for Mineral. There is some chance that Zearoe might be feeling a little bit frisky. You want to take the Bacchus into the solo lane. But
Love it.
Totem of Coup is still something to want to fight over, and I think that Bacchus can struggle a little bit with beating his direct opponent.
You can ult it.
Oh, it depends, though. Do you really want to use your Intoxicate to confirm Totem of Coup?
I don't know.
I think you would. I don't know that I would trust, you know, a teammate of mine, especially.
You want to do a Q,
here.
Taco, with me?
I don't think we can. I'm sorry.
The sick burn from Taco. Najah Sylvanus, the selection here from Sanguine, as Ratatoskr is selected along the way. You were talking about aggression on CryptiK's side. Well, Sanguine over here. I mean, Xbalanque and Najah, very, very aggressive characters. Turn the lights off. You don't know who Najah is going to be ulting. I love that synergy right there. So aggressive, definitely, from Sanguine.
The soul pickup, though, is a little bit interesting here. I feel like this is probably going to be geared towards sops. I don't really feel it as a BennyQ pick just yet, but BennyQ is also a little bit of an oddball when it comes to his hunter choice selections. We've seen him play AO, we've seen him play Baka, we've seen him do just about everything when it comes to the hunter role. And AMC, I think, was definitely a smart ban-away choice from Sanguine, but if AMC's not available, what's the next well, I can't really say that Artemis doesn't have any mobility, but I definitely think that this is a scary duo lane if it's Artemis Bacchus.
Vulcan, the choice here for the mid laner. Sheento will again have long-range success here. And Khepri, a nice little look here. So Sylvanus solo coming out for Sanguine. Is that it?
Sylvanus solo? I mean,
Hunter's Blessing, Sylvanus solo?
I'd probably favor the Sylvanus over the Khepri.
Absolutely.
In the solo lane.
But Sylvanus solo, Hunter's Blessing, I mean, that's like when Ataraxia is trolling around. Like, is that an applicable high-level strategy?
It's one that Sanguine's gonna take their chances on. I mean, they do have the first game win. This is a best-of-3 series, so if they wanted to test something out, maybe see what the success rate might actually look like against a formidable opponent, this would be the time to do it.
Well, I'm in. CryptiK look interestingly. Last selection, Achilles to pop that execute. Will it be 2 or 3? Let's ask Finch.
Well, Tom, I'm not sure, but I'll definitely find the answer out here in this game. Sanguine up against CryptiK, and it's going to be the Artemis. We were just talking about this, totally, how we don't see nearly as much Artemis anymore, but I gotta think she can build stuff like Runeforge well, so I wonder why not.
I mean, that's basically her passive now, right? It's dealing extra damage to CC targets.
Right.
So you would want to, if you want to have a more effective Artemis passive ×2, just get a Runeforged Hammer and have a field day. But you're not relying too much on your own CC. Like, hitting the trap is a little difficult and not reliable. Hitting the soul is obviously very easy to do.
Whoa.
But the ultimate as well. Jarcorrr, very
We see this solo start where they come over here, right? But they usually go steal purple. This is actually much better to go steal red because that's the most important one over here. And now Jarcorrr teleporting over and healing up with the Sylvanus. I think that worked real well.
Yeah, but and even getting Guardian's Blessing as well. So that's important to be able to stack that up, sitting at about 8 stacks. So he still gets about 5 minions from his solo lane after getting the 3 from the red buff. Only losing the 1 melee minion, he makes up for it because he enables his dual lane to be aggressive now with a red buff Xbalanque.
Yeah, that feels good. I wonder if maybe Benny and Mineral didn't recognize that the red buff was being stolen, because that's not normally what they do. They come over, they steal the purple, they leave. So by the time you realize, well, this is taking too long, well, you're not even going to go over to try and defend your purple, and suddenly they're getting away with murder on the side of Sanguine.
The thing was, Sanguine was playing so aggressive at the tower line that there was no possible way CryptiK can defend that from the dual lane side. It would be up to Fates and Sops to make that rotation. Obviously, doing speed buff, neither of them could be of assistance either. Good start from Sanguine, and the level 1 plays coming out of BennyQ and Mineral, they need to be more aggressive to prevent that from being a possibility.
Well, unfortunately, even with a Bacchus support, they've been bullied now in this dual lane. Thanks to a good start from Jarcorrr, they'll be able to defend their own purple as well, come back and grab it. And Jarcorrr really not too far behind. And like you mentioned, even if he is, he's got the Guardian's Blessing. He's kind of okay with watching these creeps die.
The only thing he has to worry about is losing too many Totem of Qs. He's not going to really die in this lane too much, as long as he does have to worry about the level 5 play from Zearoe with the Fatal Strike, but other than that, that's about it. The passive from Sylvanus will keep him rooted in place, but talking about being rooted, Mineral eating that trap a little bit. A lot of damage over time between these two.
Gets pulled back in, but he's okay for now. He still has plenty of health pots, does Mineral, so he'll be able to heal up. He went with a health chalice to start this game off. So he still has some sustain and can afford to take these trades.
I don't know if pulling them is the right idea there when you're already taking a little bit of poke damage.
I'm surprised he put a point in it at all, to be honest.
I'm not.
Yeah? Do you need it in lane here? Or?
Yeah, like if you're getting tower dove, or if you're getting, you know, if Zearoe is going to be playing at the tower line, you have that pull opportunity.
You can pull him into the tower.
Especially like if I'm going to combat dodge, hit you, reset my combat dodge just for poke, and now I don't have an escape. Yeah, that pull into a root can be devastating if Zearoe's not careful.
Yeah, that might be what he's playing too, sir. Or at least it better be, because there's probably not a ton of other good values. As the flop does come through, that stops what could have been a pretty dangerous combination. Netrioid has to use beads even, but he gets good turnaround onto Benny as the red buff invade comes through again, this time by Panitom.
So I don't think that Netrioid would have died if he didn't use beads, but because he did use beads, he keeps himself very healthy. He's going to be able to return the damage onto BennyQ, holds onto, actually no more potions remaining, but he still has sustain.
Oh, was there for Panitom. That's an easy first blood as Fates ends up falling in the 1v1 in the jungle. And like you mentioned, BennyQ and Netrioid now are still duking it out over in dual lane. They've got the healthier Hunter. They're both out of potions at this time, so making sure you prioritize staying healthy is huge.
And now even losing their red buff for a second time yet again. This time Jarcorrr looks like he's going to get himself one Totem of Q, as both of these players are level 5. Jarcorrr still needing about 8 more stacks on that Guardian's Blessing to receive that 48 gold a minute.
Well, to be fair, as Sylvanus, he can hit it from range. Sheento, though, low in the middle lane and just barely gets away from the Supernova. He's got the experience lead and has plenty of time to back.
Definitely does. Unfortunate for Sops, as he doesn't have the range necessary for the Supernova. He would have had to keep moving past the tower line far enough to allow that Supernova to reach the Vulcan.
That's right, for one of those last few ticks to hit home. As there's been action across the map to start this game, a really interesting set so far between Sanguine and CryptiK. I've been enjoying it a lot just as a fan. I wonder if those ranged autos and the ability to heal up in the solo lane is part of what this Sylvanus is. Totally, you were watching the Pixie Mans a little bit closer. Was this Sylvanus after the Achilles into this solo lane matchup?
No, Sylvanus was before the secondary ban phase, as Achilles was the actual last pick.
That's right,
in response to the Khepri. It was the Vulcan Khepri second, 2 last picks from Sanguine, because Sanguine was first pick, and CryptiK were like, oh, Khepri ultimate, how do we negate it? Execute. What executes are available? Alquang, Thanatos, Achilles.
Well, there's no way Khepri could have come over here to the solo lane, right? So they must have already decided they were okay with this Sylvanus being there when they selected it.
Yes.
So it couldn't so much have been responsive as it's up into the air is IFates. They want Jarcorrr. Ratatoskr hits 2. The root's there as well. He should be able to get away because he also gets help from Netrioid. And there's that pull you were talking about, but not able to find it.
Ooh, but Panitom finding one target into the sky. Gonna be onto Mineral with Sheento over the top.
That's a nice kill from Sheento to follow up. And Panitom would have liked to die, but BennyQ patiently waits it out. That means the Scarab's Blessing will fade, and a nice kill for CryptiK to finally get on the board.
Trading 1-for-1 support for jungler. Not a worthwhile trade out of Sanguine, but debuff coming up momentarily. Jarcorrr could look for the pull there. Not connecting onto the root. Fatal Strike still available. Zearoe does have kill potential with that Wrath of Terror on cooldown.
Sheento backing, having a good game on the Vulcan here so far, but this pressure on dual lane, totally, they've not given it up since the start of this game. That Jarcorrr start really has kind of spelled how the rest of this match has gone. Ronngyu and Netrioid have had pressure, they're still ahead, and that's meant that Sheento's gotten a little bit more farm because the red buff keeps getting invaded. Look how far Panitom is ahead of Fates. I mean, that really has kind of spelled how this entire early game's gone.
Zero's mitigated a little bit of that due to 3 Totem of Qs as to the only 1 coming from Jarcorrr, but not really enough, as Sanguine still currently has about a 700 to 800 goal lead. Not too much to write home about. It's only 7 minutes into the game, but it's about these next couple of engagements that's really going to be able to determine who's on the better end of things. And most of it is Netrioid having a 1-level lead over BennyQ.
That is nice that they're still able to hold on to that lead over in the duo lane, and it's blood fort from BennyQ on that first item. That's a bit. That's a slow investment. It is a big power spike, but that's a lot of gold.
You know what it might have been because of? Maybe because he felt that he was going to be behind in the stacking department anyway. He's like, you know what? I'm going to get Blood Forge, get my Tusky to at least do a lot of damage with the scaling. That could be one idea.
Well, up into the air goes Mineral right away, but you saw Fates go into his ultimate as well to try and counter the follow-up, but it absolutely was not there. Sheento removes Mineral, and Fates dives into 4. Now he's low. Panitom gets the kill, and Sheento escapes with that Scarab's Blessing, though Ronngyu will die to save his carry.
Panitom getting the ring bounce off as the execute from Zearoe obliterates Netrioid. Overall, a 2-for-2. I like the start of that engage. Clearly, Sanguine have an idea. This time, Zearoe a little bit off the mark, still looking for more, though. Stun, not able to connect. Good peels coming from Sheento, but it's just not enough. That combat dodge dealing so much damage. Can we look at what Zero's actually maxing out? I'm curious. If it is the combat badge, I was curious because that was a lot of damage for that ability.
He's leveling, and it absolutely paid off in this engagement, didn't it? It shortens the cooldown on it and increases the damage. I wonder if that's part of what factored in, but his rotation to that fight turned that around entirely. In fact, now CryptiK are the ones burning the Gold Fury, and they should get this. It's really only Ronngyu who's nearby, and he can't do enough. No, that's the Gold Fury.
Very clean, even using the Intoxicate out of Mineral. Mineral was so tired of dying. He's like, you know what? I'm dying before I even get off my Intoxicate. This Gold Fury can't stop me.
There's no way that it's stopping him. Just like that, CryptiK have evened out this impressive start from Sanguine to make a virtually tied game in gold and experience. That red buff invade was good, but they lost too much off the back of it. And I gotta wonder if it was because of Fates' ultimate. We couldn't quite see it because we were following Panitom up in the air, but that must have helped bring in some good damage.
Oh, Sops taking so much damage from the abduct into the follow-up damage out of Sheento, but the Disapparate just in time to prevent the backfire damage, I think it was. So he's going to be able to still be relatively healthy under his own tier 1 mid tower. But can we talk about Panitom and Sheento's synergy thus far, sitting with 2 kills apiece? These 2 players have been making it happen off of their ultimates.
Yep, this is a bit of an amalgamation, this Sanguine squad. Some of our LATAM North, I believe, all-stars from the SGS last year, so not surprised to see that they're able to work well together now that they're paired up here in the minor league over in North America, kind of still holding that torch for one of our lost regions, and they're doing it proud, I would say, so far in the SML.
They have been, as Oracles go in the favor of CryptiK. This time the Totem of Q going to Sanguine, as Panitom making that rotation happen in the solo lane, which is good when you want to keep an Achilles in check. So far, he doesn't have any defenses outside of the Warrior's Blessing evolution, so if there's ever a time to gank this Achilles for Panitom, now rather than later.
Mineral's pulled back in by Ronngyu, but immediately Fates goes up to the ultimate, knocks up Sheento, but Sops too far away, and because of the ultimate from Netrioid, he could not follow up.
No, not quite yet. Still holding on to all their beads are CryptiK, so Panitom has to be mindful about who he goes on. Ultimate available, Windfire Wheels, BennyQ trading out with Netrioid.
Wow.
Beautiful timing, Rising Jaguar, giving himself the immunity.
That's crazy from Netrioid to get him out of there, perfectly timed. But I also want to talk about how well-timed his ultimate was earlier, too, because Sops, that should have been a dead Sheento, but there was no way for him to follow up on that engage in the middle lane off of Fates' ultimate.
That's very true. They're still holding on to the beads, even as Sheento under his Tier 1 tower, relying on some of the protections that Ronngyu is giving him with the sprint, with the Khepri passive. Scarab's Blessing wasn't even necessary there.
Zearoe, as you said, does not have very many protections, so when he gets stuck under tower, he takes quite a bit of damage, but there was no way for Jarcorrr to follow up after that.
And that's another thing. Without those protections, even the tower has to be a factor that you got to worry about. A great play from Jarcorrr. I'm assuming the pull connected into the Wrath of Terror. If Fatal Strike wasn't used, he wouldn't have the mobility to get away from that second tower shot that would have been lethal.
He absolutely had to use it at that point, as it looks like Panitom is trying to steal the blue buff on the right-hand side. Fate is right there with him, though, and they take him right up into the air. He'll have Jarcorrr there to follow up once he lands, but there's no Wrath of Terror or Root, which means Fates is fine.
Using the Wisps for a little bit of sustain from Panitom and damaging Fates at the same time will force the back out of that Ratatoskr jungler. Now making the rotation is Mineral around the corner. Panitom could easily ring bounce off of it just to go for poke damage if he really wants to.
Actually, you're right. That'd be quite a bit of good damage. It might have looked like Mineral was rotating over to meet the other support, but that's Sylvanus solo if you're just joining us, and he's had a great game so far. Would rotate over to duo, got them an early start, and so far holding his own up against an Achilles in lane. That is not easy to do.
No easy task for any Guardian to not die against an Achilles. And the fact that Jarcorrr playing the Sylvanus is so bold to put himself in this position speaks volumes about not only his confidence, but his team's confidence in their solo laner to call that out. It's like, yo, what do you want to play in the solo lane? Yo, give me Sylvanus.
Okay, yeah, sure, Sylvanus, okay. And then he showed exactly what he could work here in this matchup, so a great job for Jarcorrr holding on. And again, this is before he knew his solo lane opponent. Like you said, Achilles was picked last and given an opportunity to essentially counter-pick into the Sylvanus, because with this composition, it should have been clear that that was about the only place he could go. And still, so far, he's holding his own.
And there might have been a thought process of maybe Khepri was the idea behind being played in the solo lane, but because Zearoe last picked the Achilles, you're not going to want to put that Khepri there. Also, you would probably rather have a Khepri rotating around more often throughout the map with an easy root abduct combination, Scarab's Blessing in the earlier teamfights, as opposed to having a Sylvanus for Wrath of Terrors.
We're across the 13-minute threshold, and we talked already, Toli, about how Zearoe doesn't have really any dedicated protections in this build as Pyromancer is being pulled. And I think Sanguine are right, this is absolutely theirs. There's no way for CryptiK to defend. But Zearoe still doesn't have any dedicated protections. Good call, Fates is up in the air, and he still wants to go in. He wants Panitom, no Sash land, so it doesn't cost any relics, it's just Fates' ultimate.
No blink available for Fates. He's just straight up walking to them with Zearoe right around the corner. Good blink from Zearoe, but the disruption coming through from Jarcorrr.
And the turnaround ultimate actually takes Fates up into the air. Wrath of Terror right into the root means that Panitom makes it out. Good defensive play from Sanguine. They even added in the Xbalanque ultimate.
Very necessary to deter CryptiK from diving beyond between that Tier 1, Tier 2 towers. So all ends that starts well. Beads even being forced from Panitom, beads from Fate, so even Stevens, ultimate for ultimate, beads for beads.
But that's not going to be the end of it. Mineral wants to keep going in, but he's abducted back in to Sheento's damage on the Vulcan. Panitom locks him down with the Sash. But it is still a Bacchus at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Not the easiest to kill, even with all that CC.
Mineral using Intoxicate defensively, thinking that he might have been in a little bit more trouble, so wanting to get off the little bit of daze to make it more difficult for Panitom to chase that kill. But both of these teams playing so well off of one another. 4-4, read the kills as we're approaching the 15-minute mark, because the only Fury is the idea of trying to bait out Sanguine.
And they are able to bait in Panitom. He walked into a bad part of town, gets caught by the boar, and a nice kill for Benny. He's 3-0-0. on this Artemis so far, and they'll head right back to the Oni off the back of that pick.
No beads, no Windfire Wheels, no Panitom in the rest of this engagement. It's a 5-on-4. CryptiK still pushing forward.
And Sheento used his ultimate, remember, so that's not going to be here to help out as the flop off the mark. Jarcorrr lands a 2-man knockup, but there's no one around to immediately follow up. Mineral low, but barely survives. Fates is up in the air, and he's got 2 tasty targets. Ronngyu falls first, and Zearoe gets Netrioid second. The Scarab's blessing is there, but a double for the Wrath.
4 kills overall. CryptiK are looking to bounce back in this set, trying to control it with both hands. A great rotation from both soul laners, making the plays happen, but the dots onto Minerals. Bacchus just not enough. Too much damage mitigation. Jarcorrr going for a very defensive build. Didn't have the damage you would expect to clean that one up.
Yeah, that was very clean from Team CryptiK as they punish the Sanguine roster for overcommitting to trying to defend. It starts with them kind of baiting the Gold Fury, then they get Panitom in and get a clean pick, and then Sheento drops the ultimate too. Maybe if they still have that, they can win that fight. But without that, they were too far behind.
Face checking Gold Fury as a jungler, without beads, without your ultimate, Panitom was destined to die in that instance. Great recognition from CryptiK though, because they have the whole left side of the map warded. Sentry ward at the left side mid Harpies. Between the reds and the purple buff, there's like, what is that, 6 wards in total on just the left side of the map?
It's a lot they've got down on that side of the map. So if anything goes down, they'll certainly know about it. Like maybe, say, Panitom coming in by himself.
That's right.
To check on Gold Fury, and they're able to catch him out and punish and win the fight on the back end. That means now they've got about 2,600 or so gold in their favor, doubled up in the kill count. So even though an impressive play, Sanguine aren't out of it yet, but that's a nice right hook from CryptiK.
But the late game is still there for Sanguine. I'm not too worried for them if they can still keep it relatively close throughout this game. You got a Vulcan to play defense. You got a Khepri controlling a lot of space. Panitom and Jarcorrr have a lot of surprise factors with this blink. I like the fact that Ronngyu is about to hit level 12. I'm curious to see what his second relic is going to be to deal with Mineral.
But how impressive is it that Benny has turned this dual lane around totally? Remember, this started off pretty heavily in favor of Sanguine with that help from Jarcorrr and solo, but now all of a sudden this Artemis is level 16 and starting to build into some crit. I mean, this Artemis is scary.
It's going to start swinging, actually. Second top player damage. Sops going to get stunned out, forced to use the beads. Going to disapparate against the meatball. No ultimate expended from Sheento, but without the beads, Sops is going to be the primary target.
Purple buff stolen. Ronngyu and Netrioid going to take the 2v2, but with a boar, I don't know how Ronngyu is supposed to survive. Scarab's blessing on himself, and now he's got some backup as Panitom is joined. Ronngyu makes it out, and all of a sudden those 2v2 has turned to a 5v2.
Didn't use the beads against that one, and Sheento around the corner with the backfire for an easy kill. Still looking for more though. Sheento could have bitten off more than he could chew as he gets traded out.
Supernova comes out from Sops, that's big damage, but Zearoe the real difference maker as he finds a triple kill. Goes into the execute, and he wants a little bit more. Netrioid, you've stuck around too long. Even with that passive from the Achilles heel, he's still going.
He wants the quadra kill. If he had combat dodge available, he would have gotten it, but doesn't want to lose his life. Are you kidding me? He has the combat dodge to get away, and he's healing with the addition of his second ability, with the addition of the Soul Eater. What a calculated play. An unofficial quadra kill coming out of Zearoe.
Okay, Zearoe. All right, I see you. Level 18 on this Achilles. What a play he's been making really all game long. And we talked earlier about how Jarcorrr have been managing to go even with this Achilles despite the fact he's on the Guardian. Well, that is no more. His impact at 7-0-0 has been way more.
And the problem is for Sanguine is because Jarcorrr is playing Sylvanus, Zearoe can get away with going this build.
With mostly damage.
Like most damage, yeah. Like defense, sure, in terms of health coming out of the Blackthorn Hammer, the sustain that you get from Gladiator Shield. But normally at this point in the game, you would have like Hide of the Urchin. You would also have even more physical defense side of things. And currently, Zearoe just now finishing off the Pestilence in 20 minutes into the game at level 19. Highest level currently on his team. Top of the player damage charts. What a sick play.
And for what it's worth, he hasn't done a ton of traditional frontlining yet in this game, right? Where he's just absorbing a bunch of damage. He's kind of rotated into a couple fights late, which is exactly what this build excels at, as Netrioid has to use beads and Aegis. He will survive. Now Panitom has a chance to punish BennyQ, who blinks in, uses the beads, but there's the ultimate, and Benny will be punished for overstepping.
Waiting it out, the beads, a good play out of Panitom. Vulcan ultimate over the top, trying to steal this, and it was actually stolen, but at what cost?
Well, two-man knockup comes out from Fates. Zearoe's right here for the follow-up. Gets hit by the Wrath of Terra, yes, but now there's 4 members behind him for the lockdown, but they still have a tier 1. He actually pulls Mineral in, and that gives room for Panitom to come in and find a nice ring bounce.
Ring bounce doing a lot of damage. It is technically a 4-on-4 with Sheento healing up thus far. Actually, Xbalanque split push on the left-hand side, so it's a 4-on-3, but I don't think CryptiK can do anything with that one-player advantage unless they want to lose their tier 2 tower.
They did get away with stealing the Pyromancer, though, which was nice for Sheento to be able to find that ultimate and some good damage, and CryptiK couldn't punish them on the back end, even with a good ultimate coming out from Fates, and some much-needed farm found for Netrioid. That's huge.
Yeah, not even looking for the tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. With Gold Fury up, I'm a little surprised that Netrioid back. He was in prime real estate opportunity to ignore the tier 2 tower and go to Gold Fury.
Now they can't do it.
Yeah, now it's a missed opportunity with the respawn out of BennyQ.
He might not have recognized just how free that space was on that side. Doesn't have any relics, so perhaps playing a little bit safer rather than sorry. Now the Gold Fury being looked at, but Team CryptiK are going to be here for this defense for sure. Big crits coming out to bring it lower, but they've got to drop in Mineral and Fates jumping in.
They're trying to go onto the back line. Look at Zearoe. He gets abducted. Those crits are doing a lot of damage. Jarcorrr gets off the Wrath of Terror, but the execute is a little bit better.
The tree's too big. That's an easy target for Zearoe as he takes down Ronngyu to the right and Netrioid to the left. Fates has too much damage. Zearoe is able to find a double kill by taking down Ronngyu. Panitom goes up into the air, but he's going to come right back down into his death. I mean, what can he do? Benny is even finding the kill.
Oh, looking for the deicide is Zearoe, but a good little meatball from Sheento. Going to prevent it. Over the top, not having the range to take out the solo laner. So we'll find themselves 4 kills, and CryptiK, without any hesitation, ignores the Gold Fury, ignores the tier 1 mid tower, heading straight for the Fire Giant.
What a close match between these two. And I think these two teams totally are fighting for second place in North America. Armada probably have a firm lock on that. And these two teams seem evenly entitled to that position, as this Fire Giant will certainly be going down to CryptiK. But it's been back and forth this whole set between these squads.
I definitely agree with you, but the difference between them is their ability to make objective calls without hesitation. If Sanguine could just clean that up a little bit, they would just be a step ahead of CryptiK, right? They had the opportunity to go for tier 2 tower if they wanted to. They didn't go for it. They had the opportunity to go for the Gold Fury, but instead, Netrioid backs. Probably back to finish off the Poison Star. I didn't look at his build as to why he backed necessarily, so that's a little bit of a question mark. But because they backed, they still went for it, which was very questionable at that point. Like, Netrioid wasn't there right away to start that Gold Fury, so all of CryptiK was just a good opportunity to stop that one.
Yeah, they only needed to do one check in my mind on if they need to do that Gold Fury. Is Zearoe alive, and is he still 9-0-1 in level 20? And the answer was yes, so maybe don't do it, because Zearoe is still a huge problem. They'll now grab another Gold Fury and now have a chance to push down all of these remaining towers.
And the problem was Jarcorrr took so much damage too early in that engagement. He was overextended to the point where BennyQ was just chomping away at him, and all Zearoe had to do was press his 4 button and just find all the kills after that. An additional disparity for Sanguine was they didn't have Scarab's Blessing during the Gold Fury or Darkest of Nights, but they still forced out the objective without those 2 important ultimates.
Sanguine are here for this defense, but it might be ill-advised to hard commit to it. Ronngyu, the early target, knocked up and very low. He has not fallen just yet, but that's because Fates hasn't come down. He's picked a different target, though. He wants 3 underneath the tier 2. Sops follows up immediately, and Ronngyu falls. Fates finds a double. Yes, Jarcorrr has the ultimate on him, but he has to leave a rampage for this rat.
Oh, looks like Zearoe was looking for some more kill opportunities. 3 dead on Fire Giant side out of CryptiK. Vulcan ultimate. Wait a second.
Benny, I'm right there with you.
He pressed beads. No, he thought he had an Aegis slot on there, but he actually picked up the blink beads.
So that meant that he didn't have a way to survive, but CryptiK want to try and close this game out, but could that damage end up mattering? BennyQ gets Panitom, but it's just Sheento left to defend 4. Titan down at half HP. Zearoe's low, he has to fall back out. Titan at about a quarter, but I think they still have plenty of damage. They just gotta focus out Sheento, kill him really quickly, then turn back to the Titan. Another kill for Zearoe, and that should be game 2 for CryptiK.
Looking for it. Zearoe needs the damage.
There
Finally, Sops with the last hit. CryptiK extending the set to a game 3.
Ending it on a deicide, and just as strong as Sanguine looked in game 1, CryptiK looked strong in game number 2. And I think you're exactly right, Totally, to say it was their decision making.
Yeah.
They were so much cleaner around those objective fights.
It's true. They wanted to go for the objective fights a lot faster with the advantage that Zearoe had in that solo lane. Once he started rotating, it was just an absolute nuisance. The Soul Eater that dive under the Phoenix for the unofficial quadra kill is what really opened the door for the rest of CryptiK.
Yeah, I don't know if we give out MVP awards for individual games, but Zearoe, man, that was all you. What a performance on the Achilles. At least that's how we saw it here as the casters. What about you guys on the desk?
I saw the Achilles.
I saw Zearoe killing Panitom at his red buff back Harpies is what I saw. I mean, I think that Zearoe just had such a good impact on this match with that Achilles.
What's the ping?
He went from lane bully to just abusing everybody on the map and really punishing Sanguine, I think, for going with that Sylvanus solo.
Yeah, the Sylvanus solo was questionable at best. At worst, the reason they lose. But realistically, I mean, Zearoe probably could have had this game no matter who his opposition was in lane. Complete control from minute 1 to whenever the game ended. This is just what happens when your aggressive solo leader spirals out of control.
And spiral out of control, he did. That's actually probably the best way to put it. Just not really much of an answer. Khepri, Scare's Blessing, not very effective when you have a fatal strike on Achilles that can be used time and time again as long as he keeps connecting with those executes. And that 10-0-6, it's not your eyes acting funny, guys. It's legit just Zearoe dominating this game, too.
Yeah, fantastic build as well. Everything just adds up exactly where it needs to be. Love the look, love the play, love the game. I mean, that's exactly what you do when your back's against the wall and you're going, all right, team, fine, I'll do it. We'll go to game 3. And that's what Zearoe does. He puts his money where his mouth is, gives out 23,000 player damage, and just embarrasses everybody that steps up to him.
And Sheento definitely tried his best, I think, to salvage this secondary game, but it was just too little too late by the time he finally got the itemization he needed online to start really handling Zearoe. He was already just, his team was dead because there was such a massive lead built up on the side of Team CryptiK also that it wasn't just Zearoe who was profiting. The other 4 members as well were very far out in front, and, well, they just controlled the entire pacing of this match the whole way through.